Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard, this is Lap of the World, and today we're going to be changing a clutch slave cylinder on a 1992 NSX. Stick around. Right, so having gotten back from Europe, Liz was looking forward to driving her NSX around town a little bit before we depart for NS Expo 2025 clear across the country. However, the first time she went to move it around, the clutch pedal went to the floor and stayed there. And it did come back with a little bit of exercise, but that's more sketchy than we wanted to try and send on a 4,000-mile road trip. Some quick diagnostics showed that the firewall underneath in the driver's footwell was not wet at all, so no evidence of a leak under there, but the reservoir on the master cylinder was a bit low, which was suggesting a leaky slave cylinder, and that's what we're going to be changing today, so let's get right into it. To change the clutch slave cylinder on your first generation NSX, you'll need the following tools and supplies. First, if you're only replacing the failed cylinder, you'll need, of course, a replacement slave cylinder and O-ring, a ratchet handle with a 10 and 12mm sockets, 10 and 8mm box wrenches, some roughly 6mm clear tubing, more brake fluid than you'd expect, and don't forget the PPE since that's nasty stuff. Bonus points for 6 and 12mm rubber caps to spare yourself some cleanup. If you are also replacing your clutch line with the SOS braided line, then in addition to what comes in that kit, you'll also need a 10mm flare nut wrench, or I prefer a crowfoot, 11 and 17mm box wrenches, flat and Phillips head screwdrivers, an assortment of pliers, and a small hammer or mallet. Moving to the back of the car, the best access to the slave cylinder will be from underneath, just inboard of the left rear wheel. The slave cylinder is mounted on the forward side of the transmission, and it will be visible looking up between the back of the forward crossmember and the shift linkage housing on the transmission. I found it helpful during diagnosis to pre-clean the area around the slave cylinder and clutch line to understand what might be leaking. Fortunately, Super Clean recently sent me some degreasers in a couple of different form factors that worked very well for this purpose. Leaks may not be immediately apparent, as the most common place for them to leak is out the front, which can end up collecting in the shift fork cover rather than running out to the ground. But either way, expect a little bit of a small mess, and keep your face clear as you begin disassembly. Incidentally, Super Clean also sells oil dry that can help police any errant hydraulic fluid. First thing first, get your rubber cap and borrow the shipping plug from the new slave cylinder, and then save it for the next time. Undo the two 10mm bolts attaching the clutch line to the slave cylinder, then position a rag or paper towel under the connection before gently twisting and pulling to separate this connection. Cap the clutch line and insert the shipping plug into the slave cylinder to minimize drippage while you remove the slave cylinder itself. Now undo the two 12mm bolts attaching the slave cylinder to the transmission case. Expecting some mess, gently wiggle and pull the slave cylinder boot and piston out of the hole in the rubber shift fork cover. Bear in mind that the actuator rod in the boot on the slave cylinder is loose, so can fall out if the boot is damaged. In preparation to install the new slave cylinder, recover the shipping plug from the old one, clean it, and then we'll use this to relieve some spring tension in the new cylinder so we don't have to fight that during installation. Compress the piston by hand and then insert the plug. This should hold the piston in the retracted position while you install it. Lube the tip of the actuator pin with some decent quality moly grease, and then expect to fiddle it a little bit, getting everything back into position without the pin falling out of place in the slave cylinder's boot. The torque spec for the 12mm bolts, once you have them positioned, is 16 foot-pounds or 22 Nm. If you're only replacing the slave cylinder, then at this point uncap your clutch line, replace the O-ring with a new one, give it a quick wipe with brake fluid, and then pop it back into place in the new slave cylinder. Torque spec for the 10mm bolts is about 8 foot-pounds or 10 Nm. You can now skip ahead to bleeding the system if this is where you're stopping. If, like me, you're also replacing the clutch line due to age or leakage, then with the clutch line free but capped on the bottom, we'll move up top and start by removing the airbox lid to give us better access to the upper line fitting. Your physique and reach may determine whether it's easier from the top or from underneath. I found disassembly easier from underneath, but appreciated the clearer line of sight from the top for reassembly. Looking at the upper end of the flex line where it connects to the hard pipe, before you remove the clip, use your 10mm flare nut wrench or crowfoot to crack the fitting loose. It may help to clean the fitting and marinate it in some penetrating oil a few days in advance if you know you're going to do this. I prefer the crow's foot as it's less prone to jaw flex than a flare nut wrench, or at least any flare nut wrench that I've come across, so less risk of rounding the fitting. If you do start to round the fitting or flex the bracket, remember that you're replacing the line anyway, so some aggressive pliers on the hose flange underneath the bracket can help with leverage. In the worst case, the SOS instructions suggest disconnecting the clutch line upstream of the damper assembly and then using a vise on the line flange to allow more leverage. Once the fitting is loose, then use your flat screwdriver and some pliers to remove the clip holding the line to the bracket and spin the line off the fitting. Remember that the line will be full of brake fluid, so it should be extracted out the bottom so as not to risk any painted surfaces up top. Bonus points for capping the hard pipe when the rubber line is removed. Now comes what I found to be the hardest, or rather the most fiddly part of the whole job, attaching the SOS line flange to the hard pipe and securing it to the bracket. Save yourself some frustration and be sure to thread the fitting into the new flange before clipping the new flange to the bracket or attaching it to the slave cylinder. This allows you maximum flexibility in your angle. Once the fitting is screwed into the new line, reinstalling the clip can also get a bit tedious, but I found I was able to kind of wedge it in place and then tap it home with a small hammer without using any undue force. At this point, you could have either pre-installed the SOS line adapter into the new slave cylinder before installing that, or you may have pre-assembled the SOS line assembly by screwing the line end into the slave cylinder adapter that comes with the kit. In either case, making the connection to the slave cylinder will either be the reverse of disassembly, or you'll just need to thread the SOS line onto the SOS adapter on the slave cylinder side. With that done, tighten but don't over tighten the line fittings, and then we're ready to bleed the system. When it comes to bleeding the clutch loop, I would not recommend doing this the traditional way, or the same way that you would bleed the brakes, where you have someone pump the pedal while you close and open the system. That can frankly take an eternity with a clutch system for whatever reason. Instead, I would suggest starting with a gravity bleed. So just open the valve at the slave cylinder, running a tube into a jar, and then listen to some music and have a beverage while you keep the master reservoir topped off and keep an eye on the fluid leaving the tube. After a while, it will be apparent that only new fluid is coming out and you'll stop seeing bubbles in the tube. Now you can go back, grab an extra foot somewhere, and it should take just a few pump and bleed cycles to get pressure where you want it. So with your new slave cylinder and clutch line in place, a word of caution when you go to check your work: the first start should be with the car in neutral. Don't start it in gear with just the clutch depressed, just in case you haven't gotten everything as well bled as you think. And then you can kind of test from there and decide if you're good to go, or if you need another round of bleeding to get air out of the system and make sure the clutch is fully disengaging when you have the pedal down. So, with that said, I'll remind everybody that normally Liz would do work, and she would do this work on her own car. However, we're kind of under the gun between getting back from Europe and leaving for Expo with not very much time to go. So we're just sort of playing to strengths. And at least for the moment, my wrench still spins a little quicker than hers. So we took care of this one. But we hope you found the video informative, if not entertaining. And if you did, please consider subscribing, drop a like down below, leave a comment if you have any tips, tricks, or any questions for things that we may have missed along the way in the process, as we're shooting this in kind of the alternate garage for the moment. So apologies if it wasn't as well lit as usual, but anyway, yeah, we'll leave it there before I ramble too much. Thanks again for watching. I'm Richard. This is Lap of the World. We'll see you guys all in the next video, if not out in Seattle.